Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently September 15th, 2010, and I knocked my camera away. It is the Day 9 Daily, number 180, where we learn to be a better gamer. And yesterday, I did a little Zerg vs. Terran action where I randomly selected many games from Fruit Cellar, aka Cool Fu, for any of you Brood War fanatics. So I was trying to just study Zerg vs. Terran to get a sense on some patterns, on some timings. I learned some valuable lessons like I don't really need my layer so quickly, or it's okay not to take an expansion really fast, and if that is the case, getting an infestation pit quickly seems to be reasonable. I learned a couple of early game timings. But because all the games that we looked at were wildly different, it wasn't as great as I would have liked. Especially because I downloaded all the replays from the popular replay sites. There were exciting, crazy, nutty games instead of just like standard, by-the-book, just your run-of-the-mill ladder games. So what I did today was very smart. I planned ahead. Oh, wow, how unusual. I downloaded a lot of games from DIMAGA because I've seen the way he plays and I've seen a lot of consistency, and I tried to group his games together. And we're going to talk a little bit about that grouping today and all the various other stuff. I'm still trying to dig deep into Zerg vs. Terran. This is a little bit more contrived because I did look at the games beforehand. But again, I'm trying to let you see how I would go about trying to bust out of a matchup. Because for me, I personally have just felt like Zerg vs. Terran seems rough. It feels very rough. Delicious indeed. Clear some of that off my lips. Now, I did want to let you know about a very cool riddle. Now, I did a riddle last time that created a great deal of controversy because I guess I misworded some of the stuff, and by that I mean I said it just fine, and a lot of people didn't get it. But I'm going to do another one that I really like. I really love this riddle, and it kind of relates to today's daily, but I just, in general, think it's really awesome, so I'm going to share it with you. So, we have a stick. We have a stick, and this is like, I'll get into that in a second, but we just have a stick, and it's 1 meter long, exactly. And we have ants on this stick. Some number of ants, we don't know how many. And the ants march along at a rate of 1 meter an hour. They're really, really slow ants. So our ants are on a 1 meter stick, and each ant moves along at 1 meter an hour. But if you have two ants, this is the tricky part of the riddle. If you have two ants walking, and they bump into each other, they turn around and move back in the opposite directions. So, the question is, how long does it take for all the ants to fall off the edge of the stick? Because if an ant is going to the edge of the stick and he just marches off, he's just gone. And there's a few other things I'm going to add. This is in a one-dimensional stick land. The ants don't, like, crawl over each other, and the ants can't, like, crawl under the stick. The stick you may as well think of as a 1 meter long line, and the ants are little dots that have no length at all, and they just bump into each other and back away. How long does it take for them to fall off? And what is really hard about this riddle is obviously the bumping into each other thing. And I remember I thought about this for a really long time because I'm the sort of person who I don't want to give up. No, I got this. I can handle this on my own. And I was trying to think, like, if you have like two ants walking to the left and one walking to the right, that you'd get something where this ant bumps into each other and then these bump into each other and then this ant starts like coming back. And you have all these insane amounts of bumpings coming off. But here's the solution. Here's what's so cool. When I heard this, I was just like, oh, that's so awesome. So if we have two ants, and then they bump into each other, and they go in the opposite directions, that is exactly equivalent to two ants just passing right through each other. There's literally no difference between those two in this problem. They can bump into each other, or they can go right through each other. They're still doing their same old thing. So, of course, the answer is it takes at most 1 hour for all the ants to walk off the edge of the stick. And, how I'm going to make this relate to today's daily is that especially whenever there are strategies that are very micro-intensive or very, very aggressive strategies, it feels so impossible at the start, and it feels like there's just so much to think about it, but when you hear like the one thing that just makes it sort of click, you just kind of go, oh, and then suddenly that ant riddle just sounds obvious. It just sounds completely not like an issue at all. So that was a little cool riddle that I just wanted to share with you. Now I'm going to actually kind of go into the daily, which is more Zerg vs. Terran action from DIMAGA. It looks like I was opening up a test replay. This wasn't the one that I actually wanted to look at today. But, so I have my little study folder, and I have all my reps of Fruit Cellar hanging out here. Now, I'm going to open up this one briefly, this non-DIMAGA replay, this one that just says cool. And what I am going to do is I am just going to speed through the start. So let's say you download a replay pack of a Zerg. I know that this is Fruit Cellar in this game and that we're going to be looking at DIMAGA's games today. But let's just say you downloaded a replay pack of one Zerg player. And you see he's early expanding and he's up against the Terran. And what does the Terran do? Oh, the Terran goes for a fast factory. What we're going to end up seeing in the DIMAGA games is that most of them are not this fast factory game. But, you know, let's say you did see this fast factory build, and then the next game you looked at, you saw someone who instead got a tech lab and ended up getting a lot of Reapers. And then the next game you saw someone who early expanded. What I actually really like doing when I get a replay pack, or when I get a set of replays, is I watch them on ×8 and just get through the opening really quickly so I can identify what happens at the game. So after I've seen maybe 30 to 40 games of a replay pack, or of a lot of replays, I can say, these are the games where Zerg went for fast Zergling speed and was against Reapers. These are the games where the Zerg went fast Zergling speed and was up against Fast Factory. These are the games where the Zerg went fast Zergling speed and was up against Banshees. These are the games where the Zerg went fast early expand and then was against Reapers. And then after I have all these things divided, that's when I go back through and I look at them very, very closely. So as we're looking at this game, if I were really trying to find my Reaper play, or my anti-Reaper play as Zerg, I would just go ahead and quit this game, mark it down as the appropriate one, and then let's go ahead and jump directly into another game, which just so happens is one of these Reaper openings. Now, I didn't study them intensely. I did the same technique I just described. I blasted through them at ×8 speed just so I could have a lot of games where people were going Reapers. Now, fortunately, I downloaded DIMAGA vs. MorroW after this from, I believe it was the Go for SC2 semifinals, or maybe the Craft Cup, something like that. But I know MorroW loves that Reaper opening, so I wanted to get... I wanted to see if that was the case, so I have a lot of anti-Reaper games for you today. Excuse me. And we're going to see a lot of little things. First of all, this is a very little thing. Whenever you make a bunch of drones, individually rallying them, very good. Very, very awesome. First player I saw do that was Idra. I'm going to give him credit for it. Idra, go Idra, GSL. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry for the spoiler. Anyways, here's the extractor going down on 15. Oh, okay, that's cool. Now, I do know that it's a bigger map, so we can get away with doing stuff a little bit later. 15 gas, 15 pool. All right, sweet. That's our opening. He ends up seeing it. All right, so I'm trying to note my timings because I'm trying to learn how to go about doing this. To this point in the game, we don't know if he's going Reaper or not. We can be pretty confident he's going Reaper after the very fast tech lab. Almost always that's going to be the case. So I'm real interested to see how DIMAGA responds. I'm trying to learn how to play this matchup, and I'm going to learn it one strategy at a time. I'm going to lock down the fast Zergling speed strategy. I don't know if it's the best. I don't know if I'm the sort of player who really wants to learn early expanding, or if I'm the sort of player who prefers the link speed. But for now, just to limit the number of possibilities so I can actually focus, I'm locking it down and only studying games where Zerg does something like this. So I'm seeing these Zerglings come out. Okay, Queen is coming out. That's good. Is he going for the expansion? Okay, cool. Now, you know, I actually really like noting things in super explicit detail. So I'm even going to back up and note, okay, so I saw 15 pool, 15 extractor. I did note that, and it looks like right when this thing popped out, we made up to 16 drones. I want to note that number. No attempt to expand before then. There's the Queen coming out. There's the Zergling speed coming out. And there's 2 Zerglings coming out. Oh, he pulls one guy off gas to go to his expansion. And then he pulls the remaining guys off gas and leaves, oh, looks like 1 in there. Sweet. Sweet. And now that is a pretty hefty chunk of stuff to say. Oh, and an expand on 20. Oh, how fascinating. And this is right when the first Reaper comes out. So right when we're at 20 food. By the way, I have no idea what Terran's doing. He's trying to be a superhero. So I really like to note things in excruciating detail. Because I have 4 or 5 replays where I know DIMAGA is going to go gas pool in all of them, because I checked beforehand. I know Terran's going to be going Reaper in all of them, because I checked beforehand. I've clumped them all together as one thing. I've eliminated all this complexity, staying focused on it. So I can note things like right after we start our expansion hatchery, when we're still at 20 food. When we're still at 20 food, that's when I should go see if the Reaper's popping out. So actually, if I'm at 19 food, and I go over here and I don't see a Reaper, in fact, let's say I don't even see anything pop out, I can be pretty damn sure that he researched Nitro Pack before he made a Reaper. So I could probably get away with droning a little more, getting another Queen with Creep Tubers up or something like that. Something to deal with the slightly faster Zergling speed, or excuse me, the slightly faster Reaper speed, and the slightly slower number of Reapers. Oh, wow, and he's just getting the Queen right after the other Queen finishes, and if you miss out on stuff, back up. Back up. There is no reason to go charging in. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll back up, and I'm just going to watch these larvae at this point in the game. We don't have to do it as slow as I'm doing it, but I have to keep up with my talking. Wow, he actually saves larvae and then makes 2 Zerglings. He saves larvae. I guess I could make 2 Zerglings right after that. There's a Queen popping out. And, you know, I bet you that if DIMAGA didn't see that one Reaper pop out, if he didn't see that one Reaper pop out, he may have made 2 drones instead of 2 Zerglings here. Now, just one little thing to note. This is not something I would worry about if I'm trying to learn a strategy, but this is something I just caught a glimpse of in the other games. The Overlord is positioned sort of close to the barracks. This is obviously in range of a Marine, but he's still going to keep it here to see as much of the base as possible. And if he's starting to get a little bit suspect because he's not seeing anything move out, then he can suicide this Overlord in and get as much vision as possible. This is very good Overlord placement. Okay, so more Zerglings popping out. More Zerglings popping out. Oh, Overlord going down on 23. When my Queen is halfway done doing this build, I should see 2 barracks in construction. When my Queen is halfway done with this build, I should see 2 barracks in construction. Nice. So far, if I'm at 20 food and I haven't seen a Reaper, I can make a judgment about this tech lab. If I am halfway done with my Queen and I don't see 2 barracks, I can assume he's expanding. Now here's something really interesting. He's not attacking with those Zerglings. He looks like he's waiting for Zergling speed. There are drones in production right now. Great. Drones in production. Is he really saving up more? Looks like he's continuing to add. And look at that really fast layer. That's a damn fast layer. Now I just want to check some other things because, you know, I'm really trying to sort out these early game timings given DIMAGA's build. I'm really trying to sort them out. So apparently when this build, whatever build DIMAGA so happens to do, I actually missed when he put these guys in gas. I'll figure that back out. But right around the time the layer starts is when the Nitro packs are wrapping up. So I'm actually going to back up, find out when he put those guys back into gas. So I'm just going to look here. Oh, it looks like he put them back in right when his second Queen... No, that was way too early. So this one drone he left in is doing quite a lot. Wow. And look at the timing of that. With one drone in there, he'll have enough gas right when this Queen finishes. So when the Queen's almost done, put guys back in gas. Cool. And you can do as much of this going back and checking as you want to. I do a lot just because I want to make absolutely certain of what these timings are. Some more drones. It looks like up to around 28 is when he's making drones. Then after that, it looks like it's all lings. Yeah, just look. Took the damage at the hatch. Just took it. Didn't even care. It's actually something I ran into. Against bad Zerg players, they'll try to run after you with their slowlings. But the good players just take the damage because the hatch isn't done. Still operates just fine at half health. There's the Roach Warren going up when after the layer's finished. Still doing nothing but Zergling production, it looks like. And, you know, this is another good timing to note. I just actually want to find out when these two barracks ended up going down, and how did the Terran do it? Did he do them on time? Little timings I'm noting. Did he put those barracks down on time? Gosh, this is so useful for me. Yeah, he did. Great, yeah, look at how low that guy's money is when he's building them. That is just great news, because what this means for us, as our Zerg pieces, is that we can make reasonable assessments on our timing. So when our layer is a good way from being down, you know, like a little over halfway, or apparently at 47 of 80, suicide that Overlord in and check for more barracks.
Complete.
And now, now that we're, you know, approaching the 36 food range, and hey, you know what? Here's a Roach Warren going down. I bet you that Roach Warren may have been a result of seeing those two barracks. It's kind of funny to me to see, because now that this almost seems obvious. I'm actually going to back this up. Let's slow it down. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to actually go into the DIMAGA first-person cam. And I want to see how he ends up doing this. Okay, so I'm going to hit the C button, and I'm going to play. Gosh, I love this replay stuff. Because I just want to say that in Brood War, you had to do this all by yourself. So yeah, a little while after his layer starts, look at the bottom. I'm looking here. A little while after the layer starts, he sent that Overlord in. Oops, I'm not on the chase cam. Backing up again. Back up. Chase cam. Play. Play. There we go. So I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. Yep, looking at the layer. Yep, the layer's good. Okay, yeah, when the layer's a little more than halfway, or a little more than started, he's suiciding that in. And he is, looks like he's still making Zerglings up here. And then I want to see, does the camera, okay, so it swings up, he's really checking hard. Okay, those larvae finished, but he's not doing anything with them. He's vomiting more larvae, but then he goes up to check. Oh yeah, look at that timing, right when he sees the two. Yeah, and then he's going to come back here, he's going to grab a drone, and he's going to make a Roach Warren. Hey, alright. That's kind of cool to see. Because, you know, this looks obvious now. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm having trouble with 5 Barracks Reaper, and then someone says, well, why don't you just go check when he's doing 5 Racks Reaper, and if you see the 4th and 5th Racks, get a Roach Warren. I mean, it sounds intuitive in your head. It can feel hard to discover, but now we've just done the timings. Now this feels easy. To know that we could get a layer up and a Roach Warren and an expansion pretty fast, and that we could be spreading our creep. I mean, this is really making this Reaper play much less intimidating to me. And callmeHG doing the classic, or what I would call a classic mistake with Reapers, trying to push up cliffs. It's pretty difficult to pull that kind of thing off. DIMAGA really hasn't done very much with his larva at this stage in the game. Really has not done very much with his larva at this stage at all. Still making Zerglings and creep tumors. And I'm not so sure that clicks with me well. I almost prefer to get my roaches and my drones. I wonder if there was some way to perhaps skip getting this many Zerglings and get the roaches and the layer a little bit faster. But I suddenly have very good confidence with early game timings. And there's going to be a little micro that goes on, but retreating up cliffs, the classic good move with Reapers. Yeah, very good stuff. Spread your creep out. Creep is a big counter to this strategy. It's like a critical way to beat 5 barracksing players. Oh, and DIMAGA even managed to get this Overlord out in time. Nice. Way to go, DIMAGA. Looks like now drones are finally being made. DIMAGA does tend to make a lot of Zerglings against this sort of Reaper stuff, and I really love that the Zerglings have been moved to a location where it can exploit the Reapers. They're not back, they're not all here, you know, where the Reapering player could retreat here and then run down here for harassment. None of that. And now finally making drones. Jeez, waits till after 40 food to make some drones. And it's not actually getting roaches, just gets the Roach Warren up, begins the roach speed, and then gets some roaches. Looks like he's relying more so on the Zerglings. And uh-oh, here comes Cheese. Cheese incoming. And our Zerg player, because he's in this really nice position, he can try to go for some surrounds, but there are way many SCVs there. May have been a little easier to hold off if he got the roaches really fast. I'm not sure. I'm not going to try to do too much judgment of strategy. I'm going to try to just do copying of strategy, because it's really funny how often you'll just copy a strategy, or you'll see a strategy and you'll go, yeah, I can see this weakness and this weakness and this weakness, but if you just do it a couple times, you're just like, oh, wow, that's actually really good, as I spit on my monitor and have to clean it off. Great example of this, Terran versus Terran. I was trying to play around with a lot of kooky stuff, like I was trying to do a fast Thor build. You probably saw me practice that in Day 9 Daily number 170. Or actually you didn't, because that video is corrupt, and I'm hoping Eric can fix it for me. Yay, Eric! He does my video stuff nowadays. After that, I was trying to do some barracksing action, just a little bit more of the Marine Marauder, medevac, and getting some Ravens. I was trying to do that fancy stuff in Terran vs. Terran. I was basically trying to do everything except Tank Viking, because I was like, yeah, get Tank Viking, blah, there's all these things that I don't like about it. And now, in probably my last 10 games in Terran vs. Terran, I've actually been doing Tank Viking, and I've won all of them. And it's felt really, really easy, and I get all the tactics that I can do now, and it feels a lot more fun, even against other players who are also doing the Tank Viking stuff. The way that you can transition into Marauder in the later stages, it feels natural, and I never ever would have known this unless I just copied what Nada did in the replays of his I saw, and just did it myself and said, let's just see how this feels, and you get a good sense of it. So I am not really going to make too many value judgments about this Roach speed stuff, because you know what? It's looking like it's working pretty damn well. And if you haven't seen this, this cheese by callmeHG, then clearly you haven't played Random Zerg on the ladder enough, because this drives me crazy. I'll feel like I'm doing so good, and then a bunch of SCVs come in, and if we actually go and check his base, he like has nothing mining. But wow, getting plenty of roaches out in time, like plenty, thanks to this thing. And when did he wait to attack? I mean, a lot of times you'll see players have patience, but yeah, it looks like this patience was motivated by this speed upgrade. Part of me wants to get this a little earlier. But in a lot of the strategies I do that you'll see me look at my own replays or look at someone else's replay, I'll say something like, ooh, yeah, that's something I want to consider next time. This is something I want to consider 15 times from now. For now, I just want to copy DIMAGA's strategy as closely as I can and see how it works out for me. And I think we clearly see that it holds off that good jazz. Not going to watch the rest of the game. More interested in how he deals with these openings. So we're going to go to MorroW and DIMAGA now on Blistering Sands. And then after that, we're going to watch one of their Scrap Station games. We're going to be ending up watching 3 starts to games today. This is also another game that I watched. Now, we want to see how much DIMAGA does similarly and how much he does different. I noted a lot of timings. If I start my expansion at 20 and I see a Reaper pop out, I know he started the Reaper right when the Tech Lab finished, and that he's not going to be having speed for a while, so I could probably get away with just holding my Zerglings back for some time. Maybe I could just try to get Roaches a little bit faster. There's a lot of things that I could actually try to do. I love MorroW's having the issues with the lag. He's going to say something very funny in a moment. Another timing we noted down is right when our layer starts using this build, DIMAGA did. By the way, that's funny. MorroW told DIMAGA to get out. Man, it sure sounded funny, didn't it? Wow. I sure can get the laughter on the replays. Bam. And there's DIMAGA. By the way, DIMAGA is just like that. Every time he smiles, there's like 4 mouths just absolutely elated to be there. He's totally awesome. And he has large biceps. Now, another nice little timing we noted, right when our layer starts, using the style that DIMAGA did, that's when we want to be moving an Overlord in. That's when we want to be checking to see if Barracks 4 and 5 are going down. When did Barracks 2 and 3 happen? I think it's... You know, could Day 9 be doing something contrived? I've forgotten. Maybe that's why I should write this down if you have your StarCraft notebook. Just write them down, note them, look for as many little cool timings as you can, because there was a lot that was great about what we just did, and it's very easy for it to leak out of the brain very quickly. So, okay, we see essentially the same opening in this game. There are guys going into the gas geyser. Second guy heading out here and then up. Seems very good. DIMAGA, of course, wishing everyone happiness. Sending a drone out. You know, this is something that I think looks like he is going to be going for an expansion. Oh no, he's not going for... Okay, I'm going to back this up. When did he send that scout drone out? I was like, that's the earliest expo drone in the universe. It's going to be like 100 minerals too early. Whoa, okay. So right when he's at 15 of 18 food, when the 14th drone finishes, because there's a 15th right there, when the 14th drone finishes, he sends it to scout. I assume because this overlord could not get the chance to look into his opponent's base. Alright, so we have another overlord getting made on 15. That's the usual good time to make the overlord. There goes the drone. Okay, what other little timings are we noting? What things do we want to be aware of? In the last game, we saw Queen and Zergling Speed pop out right away. And in this game, we see Zergling Speed pop out. Is he saving for a Queen? Oh, it looks like he scouts this. And if he, on this map, because Blistering Sands is so big, it looks like he is going to be expanding right away. Huh, cool. We're going to see how much of his timing is similar, and more importantly, how much of what he does stays the same, just decision-making wise. So he makes one queen, and he is pulling one guy out of gas. It seems to be a good general trend. So we're at 19 food. Remember at 19 food last time? That's right when we wanted to see if that first Reaper popped out. Yeah, it looks like we can still rely on that 19 food timing to check if a Reaper is coming. So if I'm DIMAGA, and I see... Yeah, cool. I saw that Reaper right now. I can pretty much conclude that he is not rushing for this Nitro pack. Nice. Very cool. Very good stuff. So, how many Zerglings is DIMAGA going to make? There's the one queen popping out. Will the second queen pop out kind of soon? The second queen... Oh yeah, look, he's just taking more hits on that. And a second queen does come down. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. So Zergling's now stockpiling up at the ramp. Yeah, again, I love this little technique that he does. He just gets all his Zerglings with speed to just hang up on the high ground. He doesn't try to be too aggressive with them. And Zergling Speed should so almost be done. There, it ends up being done. Now, there's another little timing that we noted down. Right when our queen is halfway done, we should see some barracks getting built. Alright, cool. Let me actually back this up. Just a pinch. Backing it up. Alright, cool. So, it looks like MorroW is building these barracks at kind of a similar time to HG, who did it in the last game. In the last game, the timing I used was when our queen is halfway. But remember, in this game, DIMAGA skipped the queen, got an expansion, and then started to get his queens. So maybe it might be better to rely on the food counts early, as opposed to something like when queen is halfway done. Maybe we can get a more accurate benchmark. I'm still going to go so far as to say that whenever we are starting our layer, we should suicide that Overlord in there. Right around the time we're gearing up to start a layer, I want to suicide to see if he is going for that that big 5-Rex Reaper style. So I'm actually, yep, there's the usual sort of stuff. Zergling's trying to push stuff back. This Overlord wants to head up there at some point to do some spotting. This queen is a little bit late. Again, he did get this expansion up. I don't actually know if I like rushing to get the expo up. I almost prefer to get the queen up, because worst case scenario is you start getting a lot of creep tumors really quickly. And here's the layer. See, right about now we could start a layer. So I want to see if barracks 4 or 5 are coming up. Yeah, it looks like MorroW has almost enough money to. I still don't mind that timing. I still don't mind that at all. Oh, this is different. A spine crawler. Well, I guess on Blistering Sands we do have this ledge we need to worry about. On Scrap Station we have, like, almost nothing we need to worry about. That map's awesome. But yeah, look, right around when DIMAGA had 100 gas, there goes that Overlord just marching directly into MorroW's base. Still, mainly Zerglings getting made. Zerglings hanging out at the ramp. God, DIMAGA really loves getting a lot of Zerglings early on. I might even almost want to get an exact count. So, geez, look at how awesome DIMAGA is. DIMAGA is my superhero. He sees all these barracks going down. And do we see a Roach Warren that's going to get started? Well, I actually know that we do. Where's our Roach Warren that's going to get started? It eventually gets started. Eventually, at some point, it does pop down. But I still love that timing on the scout. So I kind of want to see how DIMAGA ends up playing this off. Here comes a Roach Warren. Something funky happens here. Something funky happens when I was on my ×8 replay blast through of this game, just trying to figure out what type of game it was. This gets canceled, and I am supremely curious as to why. Very much so. I think maybe DIMAGA said, I want to go Spire. I'm still trying to sort this out. Spreading the creep tumor. Part of me has a question like, why aren't we spreading the creep tumors a little faster? Why don't we take this queen to spread a little bit of creep instead of stockpiling all this larva we can't use? Does this actually get canceled? Wow, I guess I was hallucinating. Alright, cool. Hallucination. Yeah, and then there's the very fast roach speed again. Trying to get that roach warren up fast, getting the roach speed first. And, you know, look at how little drones there are. And this, personally, is a big fear that I have in this matchup. So, one big idea I emphasized yesterday is look at the spot that your Zerg buddy's on, that, you know, your Zerg mentor is at. Look at that position and then say, how would I feel here? So when I look at this, I think I have only Zerglings. I have no economy. I'm a Brood War player. In Brood War, if Zerg overmade units and didn't make enough drones, that was the classic newbie mistake for Zerg, and that's how you would end up losing, is you had no economy in the later stages of the game. But here, there's no economy right now. That's how I feel. And as a result, I personally would tend to overvalue making drones here. So there's two things that we do. One is to just say, DIMAGA knows best, and to just follow it blindly. Another thing is to compare these army sizes. Wow. 9 Reapers. I really don't want to skimp on Zerglings at this stage. And, wow, MorroW doesn't even... He's only just started a command center. Huh. Goodness. That is actually very useful to know. A lot of Reapers coming out very soon. I'm still curious to see how DIMAGA is going to play this off. Because MorroW, because I blasted through this replay, I know MorroW doesn't cheese like HD did in the last, or HG, and bring all his workers, so I know it's going to be largely, a reasonable transition. And gosh, that's so good. You know, very dangerous to spread your creep tumors too aggressively, but if we get our layer fast and we position our overlords out here, we can utilize that to draw everything in. And it worked out quite well for DIMAGA. And he's still making the roaches, still not making drones. And he gets a second gas around 50 food. Now, there's a couple of ways I note this gas. You hear me talk about there are multiple ways to have timings. You know, you could say something like, when I have 150 gas, or when my food is at 38, or something like that. By the way, always the most constant measure is the number of gas remaining on your extractor. That's always the most constant measure. Way more reliable than food is the amount of remaining gas at the extractor, because pretty much put guys in gas and don't take guys out of gas. But because of all the variability that goes on in Starcraft, or really in any RTS game, I like to note a couple of things. So, for instance, I'm getting this extractor after I'm feeling a relief from pressure. I'm getting the extractor at around 50 food. I'm getting the extractor after I've made a couple of roaches. I'm getting the extractor as I start to make more drones. And I say all those things because I don't know what the exact trigger is for this second gas geyser. I mean, for a brilliant example of this kind of timing is that in Brood War, I used to... I had a Hydra Lurk style of play that really needed Guardians as a later transition. Just needed them. Defilers actually wouldn't cut it. It needed to be Guardians because it was the amount of tanks I was struggling with. And I just declared, I guess 100 food is when I want to get those tanks. But over time, I really started to note that the timing of when he got the second factory was really when I should be starting to gear up to get that hive so I could get the Guardians. And by the way, for any of you who didn't play Brood War, Guardians are the equivalent of Brood Lords, really. So, it took me a very long time to realize that. For me, coincidentally, when I was at 100 food was about the time that he was getting his second factory. But occasionally, I would play a really aggressive Korean Terran who'd be pushing out a lot, and I would have to move out, and I would be killing it, and we'd get in this huge thing, and at the end of the battle, I would have lost half my army, but he would have lost his whole army. And then he would start his second factory. So I would be at around 76 food, 75 food. It's kind of funny. I'd be at around 76. It's actually a specific game I'm thinking of in my head. I would be at like 75 food, and then I realized in that game, man, I really needed to get the Guardians like right now. I really needed to start going for them right now. But I ended up losing that game because of the amount of tanks he got, and that's when that trigger sort of erupted in my mind as the real key. So if I don't know what the timing is, I write down a lot of what could be the possible factors in there. Oh my goodness, this is so useful for me. Oh, okay, so looks like six roaches, and then all drones. Now we're starting to see drones get made. I'm actually just briefly going to go to the unit production tab. Hey, we're getting ahead in the drone count. Here are them's Reapers. Looks like someone's pinging me. I don't care. By the way, don't run your Reapers up here on this map. Oh, don't do that. There's nowhere to retreat. Notice how there's nowhere to retreat? The only place to retreat is here, and right back where you came from. This is so scary to push up his Reapers. This is cool. I'm into this. That's something I'm a fan of. How actually did he do that? Well, I guess I'll never know. Because here come the roaches running up and then firing. It's pretty good practice to run up and then fire. But still, I want to back up. I want to try to note a little bit more. Still about 6 roaches. Wow. Yeah, 6 roaches. He's getting a spire. Okay, around 6 roaches. Right after he's gotten his second gas geyser going, as we can see, it looks like he's getting a spire. Also, he's seen a command center. Now, that's a timing that we didn't note in that last game. Let's actually, I'm actually going to go to the everyone cam. I'm going to hit that B button many, many times. I'm going to back up quite a bit. Perhaps I hit it a little bit too much. Now, MorroW did get this command center down at a reasonable time, I think. I have seen this replay before on ×8, so I just want to make sure. But my god, look at DIMAGA's timing, man. For a happy, smiley, goofy man with large biceps, like, he really does know his timings super friggin' well. It looks like around 60 food, around right when he was starting his spire, he went to check if there was this command center going down. Notice how I said that. Right around 60 food, right around when he was starting his spire, just noted a couple of things. Right around when he has 6 or 7 roaches. Just goes to check if there's an expansion command center. There is. Might be coincidence. He might have just been sending this there so he could vomit creep to try to delay the command center. But whether it was intentional or not, it's still a damn good timing to note. Right around 60 food, right when our spire is starting, right when we have 6 or 7 roaches, and we're beginning to vomit with overlords out here. Check to see if he's expanding. We can actually see that Zerg is a little bit ahead in the food count. Would prefer to be a lot ahead, but you are up against MorroW, who is known for being super good at this game. More Mariners getting made. You know, you'll at this point in time, probably some of you are thinking thoughts like, I wonder, DIMAGA has been doing most damage with roaches. What if he skipped Zergling speed and just got his hatch up and went straight for roaches instead of doing all this mass Zergling without any drone? Let's not try to think too much about that, because right now, DIMAGA is winning a lot of games, and if I copy his style exactly, I will also win a lot of games. And a lot more learning is going to come out of copying this guy if you are stuck in this matchup and can't quite figure it out. A lot more learning is going to happen from copying than it is from trying to overthink things. Nothing wrong with copying. By the way, this is one of my favorite things to do after this Reaper stuff, is to actually get Marines with Stim. I actually also get Combat Shield here. You're very, very safe from the big Ling Roach counterattacks that are pretty popular these days. So our Roach speed is done. Oh, I didn't note when these 2 extractors went down. In a normal educational spot, I would actually back up and check that out. I would actually check out exactly when he built those 2, but I don't really care to that much. And I think I'm starting to get this down. Now, the only thing left I really want to know is when he gets the Baneling Nest and when he gets his expansion up, because I'm pretty certain he's going to want to get both of those. So, close to 100 food he's actually getting right when his Mutalisks pop out. Oh, yeah, it looks like he's still a little leery to do that. Moving up here with some Zerglings, trying to check some stuff. Roaches kind of getting caught off, which is very classic MorroW stuff. Moving out with a little Marine Marauder Reaper force. Is there a Baneling Nest going down? Yeah, when did that Baneling Nest end up going down? I want to... And if it's really kind of funky, like when it went down, I again, do the good old first-person technique, so we're going to go to the DIMAGA cam. So he saw some Marines kill off an Overlord. His Mute is hatched. Oh yeah, I guess when the Marines... Is that the first instance of him seeing those Marines? It may have been. That may have been the first time DIMAGA actually saw those Marines, and he just went, alright, Baneling Nest time. Muta's out. Uh-oh. Whoops. Yep, looks like this control... I just want to say, this tower is so hard for Zerg to hold. This is just a friggin' nightmare to hold. So much so that I almost prefer to expand to here first instead of the gold, because this is just hell to get control of. From Terran or Protoss. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. If you do feel that way, let me know in the chat, because I actually have that open on the other window. If controlling this friggin' damn watchtower drives you insane, let me know. Is the worst thing in the universe. And I'm even starting to notice, it looked like DIMAGA was gearing up for an expansion right here. That he was trying to do that, but it didn't quite end up popping off. Because DIMAGA's been really good about keeping his money low, and ordinarily he's good about keeping his money low. So it looks like he just couldn't get an expansion up. God, I hate this watchtower. This is so hard to... Just, it's so impossible to hold. And you know, actually in the chat, people are asking why is it so hard to hold? And a big reason is that in the game, when Terran's gonna have like a pretty mobile force, and how does Zerg get mobility in those early mid-game stages? Like, when they just gotten Lings with speed and Roaches with speed? The answer is creep. Creep, creep, creep. That's all you really want to have to do that. So, that's really how your Lings and Roaches get mobility. So, just keep that in mind. And also note that if there are units up on this high ground, Roaches and Lings can't get here. Look at the Lings have to take this really long friggin' path around and then push up a choke. Same with Roaches. Roaches have to move all the way around and then push up a choke. It's really hard. It would be easier if you could get creep all the way there. So then suddenly your only option is to get a lot of Hydralisks to really pick this off. Or to get a ton of Mutalisks. That's your other choice. But really, don't really want to get Mutalisks that... Or after that sort of opening, you just don't really have that many Mutalisks that quickly. Because, I mean, that many Mutalisks is going to lose to any more Marines, such as all the ones that are... Oh, I guess he is a little bit low on Marines. Ha-ha. So MorroW doing his trademark double tank stuff. So, in general responses, it looks like he is getting up another hatchery. He has the Baneling Nest, but has he really done anything with it? Yep, he's morphing into Banelings. I guess he just saw the Mutas and decided to go ahead and get the Banelings up. And I actually am not going to watch the end of this one. You can get this at sc2win.com. sc2win.com. I want to watch the start of this game. Because I have 2 points in my mind. I have 2 points. And by 2 points, I mean like, I have that first game that we saw against HG. I have the second game that we saw against MorroW. I want to get 3, 4, 5 games of extreme consistency for me to really start to go, okay, I'm starting to kind of get how he responds to this. So normally I would be a little bit fast on my 5th or 6th game that I saw, but because I want to wrap this daily up, this is the 3rd game that we've seen. Let's just do our checks. Let's see if DIMAGA is doing things as consistently as we've seen him do. I haven't seen this game. It looks like he is going to be going for a 15 gas, 15 pool. Here's this drone being rallied here. There's the 15 gas and the 15 pool. Good. Looks like that is all well and good. Looks like MorroW is not doing something similar. Looks like he's doing something else. Looks like MorroW is actually making a Marine. Oh my goodness! So I actually downloaded 6 games and watched 4 of them at ultra fast speed. And the rest of them I ended up not watching at ultra fast speed. And this was one of them. So I just kind of want to see the ways he's responding. Oh, wow, he's getting the hatchery really, really friggin' fast. And then he still does get Zergling speed. Still does get Zergling speed fast. Still does get the Queen fast. But doesn't pull any guys out of gas. Whoa, that is super interesting to me. Maybe that's a timing that I will want to steal in the future. Let me briefly go to the everyone cam. Oh no, looks like MorroW's going back to doing the same. Ha! MorroW. Doing the good same old. Looks like there was an extractor trick that went on to sneak out an extra drone. Definitely something that you can get away with doing as Zerg. Oh, so he saw the... What did he see? He saw a Reaper pop out, and this is... So this is why... This is almost the best thing that we could have seen in a Game 3. Coincidentally, in this Game 3, I started off by going, whoops, MorroW's doing something different, because MorroW made the Marine, put the barracks next to his orbital command, so he couldn't even build a tech lab that fast. I just went, oh, it looks like MorroW is not going for mass Reapers. And as we can actually clearly see, MorroW is going for mass Reaper. Yep, look at there's the barracks going down, there's the nitro pack, it is doing that. So you hear people talk a lot about build orders in terms of when you do what food, you know, when you do that, you know, oh yeah, I just go pool 15, gas 15, queen 16, expansion 20s, speed 16, second queen at 22. They end up with all these timings, but if we remember the key things, 2 queens, Zergling speed, and expansion, leaving one guy in gas for a while. Suddenly, DIMAGA is able to very easily and flexibly return back to where he was before. So I can say he's probably going to end up getting around 8 Zerglings. Probably going to get 8 Zerglings. Going to favor getting creep tumors once his second queen pops up. Looks like he is making a lot of drones right now. Oh, with the hero surround. MorroW's so pissed off he throws the destructible debris. Looks like a lot of drones coming out. Way more than is usual, but I would definitely expect Udels and Udels more Zerglings to be spawning forth. Here's one Zergling. And right when our queen was, you know, I just can't remember the timing of when Nitro Packs finished in the other games. So, if only I had taken the time to write it down. If only I had taken the time to do that. Gosh, I mean, DIMAGA's almost making this look really, really easy. And now he's just going to go mass Zergling production and get a layer. And this feels obvious that that's going to be the easy solution. Because I've seen these other games, and I'm suddenly aware of all these timings. Like, whoa, look, our layer just got started. That means that barracks 3 and 4 should be going up very soon. Yep, there's, or excuse me, barracks 4 and 5. There they are. Here are Reapers with a bunker going down. This is a pretty common, cute thing that a lot of players are doing on this map, just tossing a bunker down. DIMAGA with the money surround. Yeah, go Super DIMAGA. Yeah. And I still want to see, there's one last question I have mentally. After he has clearly shut down this harassment. He's connected everything with creep. He has his overlords spread out, ready to put creep the instant that layer finishes. He has a lot of Zerglings going to this Xel'Naga watchtower. If we go to the everyone cam, looks like still more Reapers being made. Does DIMAGA still get a Roach Warren? Does he still get a Roach Warren, or does he just go straight into the Spire? Are the Roaches a purely defensive play? They just might be. Yeah, wow. That is useful to know. That is just so good to know. Holy crap. I learned a bunch. Did you? I certainly did. I learned things. Oh, I'm going to put my carpal pillow tunnel aside. Ugh, crack my neck a little bit. So, what did we learn today? All sorts of stuff. If we're under a lot of pressure from intense Reaper harassment, we have good timings on when the Reaper speed's finishing, when the 2nd and 3rd barracks is going down, when the 4th and 5th barracks is going down. So that way we know when to get our roaches, we know when to get our layer. Apparently we can get a layer quite fast and delay those roaches significantly. And we can get a lot of Zerglings to put counter pressure back on all of those Reapers. Awesome. And if for some reason he messes up and we kill a bunch of Reapers when we weren't expecting to, what wonderful benefit do we have? We can go straight into the Spire and severely mess with him. All right. Yes, indeed. Let's go ahead and take some questions. Take some questions. Yeah. Let's see here. So, Laxzilla123 says, Dear Day 9, we haven't seen any Hydras in Zerg vs. Terrans we've watched in the last 2 days. Do you think that Mutas are better than Hydras for this matchup? Is there a time we would want Hydras? I'm just going to ignore the comment about the Mutalisks and not answer Hydralisks as they compare to Mutalisks, but just talk about Hydras in their own right. The Hydralisks, they just don't feel very good to me, says Sean, just having his hair explode. Hydras, oh man. The thing about Hydras is that tanks kill them really badly. Hellions kill them really badly. Thors kill them badly. Anything that comes out of a factory really smashes them. And even then, Marines are pretty damn good against Hydralisks. Like 2 Marines, which cost just as much money as a Hydralisk, and that cost no gas, can really kill Hydras pretty damn well. So I think a lot of people tend to avoid the Hydras, actually, until they get Ultralisks, until they get some sort of super tech that can really make them feel comfortable. That's what I've seen people do. A lot of people were making a lot of Hydralisks in early beta, and I don't know why people suddenly stopped. I think because of all the strategies that people have been doing, like Reapers and Hellions early on, that you don't really have time to get the Hydralisks, and then you can't really rely just on Zerglings, so you get some Roaches in there. You kind of get Roachling because it's cheap and dirty way to hold it off, and then you never really have the money to transition into the Hydralisks well. That's definitely why I think that would be the case. Varia says, Hey Day 9, in ZvT early game seems to be all about securing your first expansion. Are there any ways to play one base for a little longer to be safer without going for something that is all in? I'm very curious in this idea of going one base Infestor, seeing how effective that's been, because Cats.root has been doing some very cool stuff with that. We've seen Fruit Seller, aka Cool Foo from OGS, doing some really cool stuff. I guess Cool is on Team CV Life now. That's the worst name I've ever heard. Especially because they got -15 in the last beta patch. Bazing! So, I think that the one base play would emphasize the Infestor. Because, Mutalisks just blow when you have, just 6 of them. And you have to save up for the 7th. It's just, they can't do it. He gets Athor, and you're like, darn, I guess I'll expand. I guess one base Mutalisk into expand, or into double expand, and then going Mass Roach works pretty well. I guess I would not mind doing that on Desert Oasis, but I'm really interested in this very fast Infestation Pit. Slush has been particularly good at that. Whomp. So I will take some questions. I'm going to take 2 more questions, go a little bit longer. Dear Day 9, given the low numbers of surviving Zerg players in GSL and the scarcity of Zergs in ladder top 200, how do you feel? Do you feel these numbers indicate any unfairness in StarCraft 2? What's nice to me, let's pretend that we live in a land where StarCraft 2 is definitively, provably imbalanced. Definitively. Like someone could sit with, equals MC squared, therefore Zergs suck, and everyone just goes, clearly. If that were the case, then it's great for Blizzard to see all the evidence that's going on. The fact that there are, very few Zergs left in GSL, given the fact that there aren't many Zergs winning tournaments, given the fact that there's, one Zerg in the top 20 on the USA top 200. Given all these things, Blizzard is aware, and I'm glad that it is that public of a problem, so that they can note it. But, what's weird to me, or what's hard for me to say that these numbers indicate unfairness. What makes it tough for me is that in the GSL games, here comes a spoiler. Actually, seriously, turn off the stream if you did not watch the GSL last night. I'm going to spoil a lot. So when Idra lost Game 3 and was eliminated from the tournament, he lost because he didn't scout an expansion. He played brilliantly, but he just didn't scout an expansion. It's like a dumb mistake that I don't want to call it a newbie mistake. It's actually more of a pro-level mistake than anything. But he just didn't scout an expansion, and that happened, so whatever. That loss was not Zerg being weak. He played Zerg super awesome swarm style and lost. So, I mean, I don't know. Also, what's kind of tough is that there are a lot of people just flocking away from Zerg. And if 15% of players are playing Zerg, and 20% of the players in the top 200 are Zerg, then that, or let me make sure I said those numbers right. If 15% of all people in the world play Zerg, and 20% of the top 200 are Zerg, then that means that Zerg are actually doing a little bit better in sort of a pattern style. I don't want to say that statistically that's what that means, but I mean, there are not a lot of Zergs on the ladder playing. If there was a 33%, 33% clear division, I might have a few more problems, but given just the scarcity of Zergs, I would probably say that they need to Zerg it up a little bit. We need more faster units as the swarm. Yeah. Last question, and then I'm out. I'm going to go cook my meat. I have a steak that's been marinating for like a week. I keep opening up the fridge and forgetting that it's there. It's just going to taste like chewy salt. I can't wait. So, let's see here. Dirion. Ah, yes, Dirion. Dirion says, Dear Day 9, how come I feel like there was nothing I could have done to prevent a loss? I often feel this versus Terran as Zerg, and would you suggest you just try to copy players like DIMAGA? Now, that's exactly what I am saying. 100%. My Zerg vs. Zerg sucked in Brood War for a while. I was at A+ in PG2 work just being good at Zerg vs. Terran and Zerg vs. Protoss. But my Zerg vs. Zerg, I was at like something terrible, like 60% in that matchup. Ugh, it was like awful. So what did I do? I watched 40 games of Jaedong in a row, like 40 VODs of Jaedong, and just copied what he did, and suddenly things started to work, and 40 games later or so, I went, oh, now I see why it works. In these 3 games, I've gotten a lot of understanding. I've got a lot of, oh, he's doing that. Oh, I kind of see why he did that. But it's more usual that you copy it, have to play a shit ton, and then you go, aha. And that's okay. That's great. Do that. And that is the key. The one thing I would add on is instead of just copying straight up what he's doing, copy, but note what your opponent's doing. We noted things like when DIMAGA sent that Overlord. We noted things like when DIMAGA put down his Roach Warren. We noted things like when DIMAGA began making drones. We noted things like when the Nitro Pack finished. These are all things that are happening on the Terran side, and you need to be able to do those, because as we saw in that 3rd game, DIMAGA saw no tech lab on the barracks and expanded very, very quickly as a result. But then when he saw that MorroW was just doing the fake out and was actually doing the Reaper stuff anyway, DIMAGA bent what he was doing right back to the same thing he did in the previous 2 games. You wouldn't be able to do that if you were just copying DIMAGA, but if you were trying to think like our beautiful Ukrainians, or Ukrainian, Russian, somewhere in that general region, if you were trying to think like him, you could play like him. So that's it. Damn, that daily was awesome. Yes, I love that daily. Ugh, sitting up. Yeah, isn't that right, Manfred? My stuffed bunny agrees. Ha ha. I'm heading out. I was going to do something fun tonight. I can't remember what. I'll figure out later. Time to cook a steak. See ya. Banner.